Some people move through life as if the road opens for them. Promotions appear. Opportunities just happen. Money seems to follow them. And then there's you. You work hard. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're not lacking in desire. But somehow, your reality doesn't match the effort you're putting in. The years pass and certain areas of your life feel stuck. Almost like you're walking on a treadmill. A lot of motion, very little progress. You've probably explained this to yourself before. Maybe I missed my chance. Maybe I'm just not that talented. Maybe it's about connections, or luck, or timing. But what if it's none of that? What if the real difference between people who advance and people who stay stuck is simpler, and far more uncomfortable? Not luck, not talent, not even privilege. Pattern. In this episode, you're not going to hear another vague motivational speech. You're going to confront the quiet, repetitive script running inside your mind, the one Napoleon Hill hinted at in Think and Grow Rich. You'll see how your daily micro-decisions quietly shape your future. What you tolerate that drains you, what you avoid because it scares you, what you postpone just for now, what you commit to when no one is clapping. You'll examine how you react when you're criticized, when you fail, and when results are painfully slow, because those reactions reveal your real pattern. And that pattern predicts your financial, emotional, and personal destiny far more than any external circumstance ever could. This is not about a single breakthrough moment. It's about the invisible routine of your thoughts and choices when no one is watching. As you watch, you're not just consuming a video, you're holding up a mirror. So before we go any further, pause for a second. Where in your life do you feel stuck, despite doing everything right? If this topic already hits a nerve, hit like so you don't lose it in the noise. And if you're willing to look honestly at your own pattern, stay with me. Because by the end, subscribing won't be a casual click. It will be your first deliberate step toward breaking the cycle and designing a richer life, from the inside out. You've probably noticed it. Some people just seem to move. They switch careers. They double their income. They rebuild after setbacks. Meanwhile, you might feel like you're running in place, busy, tired, but not really advancing. It's tempting to blame circumstances. Not enough time. Not enough money. Not the right contacts. And sure, those things matter. But they're not the real engine. The real engine is your pattern. Not the pattern you show the world, the one you know how to explain in job interviews or social media posts. I'm talking about the invisible pattern underneath your days. The one made of the thoughts you repeat, the excuses you quietly accept, the fears you obey without even naming them. Napoleon Hill spent decades interviewing the richest, most successful people of his time. He discovered they weren't simply lucky. They had trained themselves into a different internal pattern. How they thought when things went wrong, what they did when they were tired, how quickly they acted on an idea instead of talking themselves out of it. You have a pattern too. It shows up in the way you handle Monday mornings, in how you react when someone criticizes you, in what you do after a long day, numb out, or move one step closer to a goal. It shows up in the commitments you make and the ones you quietly break to yourself. This isn't about judging you. It's about revealing something you've been living inside of without seeing it. Because here's the truth. Your pattern is perfectly designed to give you the life you have right now. If you keep the same reactions, the same habits, the same stories, what will your life look like 5 years from now? 10? Pause for a moment and really consider that. If this is already hitting something inside you, tap like so you remember to come back to it later. And ask yourself in the comments, what is one pattern I suspect is holding me back? As you watch the rest of the series, you'll start to see your own blueprint more clearly. And if you're ready to not just notice it, but change it, make sure you subscribe, so this isn't just another video you watch, but the beginning of a different pattern. You've seen this pattern before, even if you've never named it. You wake up with good intentions. Today, you'll finally change something. You'll start the project, open the document, make the call, look at your finances. But then the familiar script begins to run. A notification, a small inconvenience, a wave of doubt. Asterisk, and without even noticing asterisk, you slide back into the same behaviors. Scrolling, postponing, busy work, distraction disguised as productivity. By night, you're left with that quiet, heavy feeling. Another day gone. I'm still in the same place. From the outside, it looks like life just happens. From the inside, something much more precise is going on. A pattern is doing its job. You've rehearsed certain reactions so many times that they've become automatic. When you're tired, you avoid decisions. When you're unsure, you wait for more clarity. When you're afraid of failing, you shrink your ambitions until they feel safe. None of this makes you weak, lazy, or broken. It makes you human. But if you don't bring these patterns to light, they quietly decide your future for you. Napoleon Hill wrote that riches begin with a state of mind. Not a paycheck, not a promotion, a mental blueprint. That blueprint is already active in you. Right now. In what you say yes to, what you silently endure, and what you don't allow yourself to even try. This video isn't about blaming your past. It's about finally seeing the script that's been running your life. How you talk yourself out of bold moves. How you comfort yourself instead of confront yourself. How you call it being realistic when it's actually fear. Take a moment and be honest with yourself. Where do you notice this in your own life? In your money, your work, your relationships? If this is already starting to click, hit like, not for the algorithm but as a small signal to yourself. I'm paying attention now. And if you're ready to go deeper into this invisible pattern and learn how to rewrite it, go ahead and subscribe. The rest of this series is designed to walk beside you as you do exactly that. You've been taught to focus on the big events, the promotion, the layoff, the launch, the crisis. But your life isn't being shaped by the big events. It's being shaped by what you do in the quiet in-between. Not the day you quit your job, but the 300 mornings before that. When you woke up dreading it and convinced yourself, it's not that bad. Not the moment you finally decided to change, but the hundreds of nights you told yourself, tomorrow I'll start, and didn't. That's your pattern. Think about yesterday. Not the highlight, just an ordinary Tuesday. How many times did you say later to something that actually mattered to you? How many times did you grab your phone instead of sitting with a difficult feeling? How many times did you shrink your opinion to avoid conflict? Those weren't random moments. They were votes. Quiet little votes for the kind of future you'll have. People who move forward aren't necessarily smarter, luckier, or more talented. They simply have a different default. When things feel uncomfortable, their pattern is to lean in, not back away. When they feel fear, their pattern is to ask, what is this trying to show me? Instead of, how do I escape this? You have patterns around money. What you spend without thinking, what you avoid learning, what you tell yourself you can't afford. Even when it's something that would expand you. You have patterns around effort. The point where you unconsciously decide, this is too much, and drift back to what's familiar. The real question isn't, do I have patterns? You do. The question is, are my patterns taking me where I say I want to go? If this is resonating, you're already starting to notice the script running in the background. That awareness alone is a shift. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is one small behavior I repeat almost every day that quietly keeps me stuck? If you're willing to be honest about that, you're ready for the next step. Tap like if this is hitting close to home, and share in the comments what pattern you're beginning to see. And if you want to keep unpacking this mental blueprint, layer by layer, make sure you subscribe so you don't slip back into autopilot. You've been told all your life that your results come from what you do. That's only half the story. Two people can take the same action and get completely different outcomes. One launches a business and grows steadily. The other launches the same idea and quietly suffocates under doubt and debt. What's the difference? It isn't just strategy. It isn't just timing. It's the pattern behind the action. You don't wake up and suddenly sabotage yourself. You arrive there through a series of tiny, almost invisible habits of thought. The extra hour you spend researching instead of deciding. The message you don't send because it's not the right moment. The opportunity you downplay because you're afraid of looking naive. Individually, they feel harmless, respectable even, but strung together, they form a script that quietly runs your life. Wealth builders tend to run a different inner script. When they feel fear, they ask, what's the smallest step I can take anyway? When they feel unprepared, they wonder, what can I learn by doing? When they feel behind, they don't chase shortcuts, they revisit their pattern. Meanwhile, you may have learned to do the opposite. Pause when you should move. Numb out when you should notice. Explain when you should experiment. This isn't a character flaw. It's conditioning. It's repetition. It's the pattern you never realized you were rehearsing. If any of this is landing with you, take a moment, don't just scroll. Notice. Where do you usually pause instead of proceed? Is it money conversations? Asking for help? Showing your work? Your next level is hidden exactly there. You don't need to become a different person. You need to become painfully honest about your pattern. If this is making you reflect, tap like, not for the algorithm, but as your own signal, I'm willing to look at this. And tell me in the comments. What's one small pattern you see in yourself that keeps repeating? If you're ready to keep exposing these invisible scripts and start rewriting them, hit subscribe. Let this channel be your ongoing reminder that your pattern is not your destiny. Unless you leave it on autopilot, you start to notice something unsettling. Your bank balance changes. Your job title changes. Maybe even your relationship status changes. But you don't really change. The same reactions, the same fears, the same excuses dressed in more sophisticated language. This is where most people get stuck. They try to upgrade the results without upgrading the pattern that produces those results. Think about your routine decisions, the ones you barely notice. You feel tired, so you skip the one task that would move you forward. You get criticized, so you defend yourself instead of asking, what can I learn from this? You feel overwhelmed, so you scroll your phone instead of facing the uncomfortable thing that matters. Each of those moments feels small, forgettable, harmless, but your subconscious is taking notes, is building a rule book. When I feel doubt, I stop. When I feel judged, I retreat. When I feel behind, I numb out. Those rules quietly run your life. And here's the hard truth. You don't get the life you wish for. You get the life your pattern is designed to create. So ask yourself honestly, when money feels tight, do you get resourceful or resentful? When a project moves slowly, do you stay consistent or start something new? When someone else wins, do you feel inspired or secretly bitter? Your answers are not just feelings. They are forecasts. If you're starting to recognize yourself in this, that's not a reason for shame. It's a reason for hope. Awareness is the first time you stop being the character and start becoming the author. Pause for a moment and notice. What's one pattern you can already see in yourself that no longer serves the future you want? If this is hitting a nerve, don't just nod and move on. Tap like, not for the algorithm, but as a small commitment to yourself. I'm paying attention now. Share your pattern in the comments if you're ready to name it. And if you want to keep exposing these invisible rules and rewriting them, hit subscribe. This is where your old story starts to lose its power. You'll notice something interesting when you start observing people who actually break out of their old life. They don't just decide once and magically become different. They redecide, daily, sometimes hourly. This is the part most people never see. You've probably had moments of clarity before. You read a book, watch a video, hear a sentence that hits you like lightning, and for a day or two you feel unstoppable. Then the feeling fades, life gets loud again, and you quietly slide back into your usual pattern. That slide back is not weakness. It's your default blueprint doing its job. Your mind is wired to keep you in what it believes is safe, even if that safe is actually slowly draining your energy, your money, and your confidence. So every time you reach for a new standard for your life, your old pattern tries to pull you home. That's why real change is not one decision. It's the decision you keep making after the excitement is gone. In Think and Grow Rich, Hill talked about persistence as the turning point between wish and result. In your life, persistence shows up in the smallest, most boring places. Whether you follow through on the plan you made when you were motivated on the day you don't feel like it at all. This is where your new pattern is either born or abandoned. So ask yourself, when the mood disappears, what usually happens next for you? Do you lower the goal, delay the action, or distract yourself so you don't have to feel the discomfort? You don't need to judge your answer. You just need to see it clearly. Because the moment you can watch yourself fall back into the old loop, you're no longer fully inside it. You've created a gap, a space where a different choice can live. If any part of this is hitting close to home, let it. That resonance is your awareness waking up. What's one pattern you notice in yourself that you're finally ready to outgrow? Share it in the comments. You'll be surprised how many people are living the same loop. And if you want support staying in that new decision, especially on the days you don't feel like it, make sure you're subscribed. This is where we'll keep rebuilding that blueprint, one conscious choice at a time. You don't just procrastinate on tasks. You procrastinate on decisions that could change your entire life. Think about it. You've had moments when you knew exactly what needed to be done. A hard conversation, a financial decision, a new skill, a bold step. For a split second, there was clarity. Then the pattern kicked in. I'll start when things calm down. I need to research a bit more. What if I fail and look stupid? So you delay. You overthink. You stay busy instead of being effective. And each time you do, you quietly cast a vote for the life you already have. Napoleon Hill called this drifting. Moving through life without a definite decision, constantly pushed around by circumstances, never planting your flag. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right time, but the truth is, time is waiting for you. Your pattern around decision-making is one of the most powerful predictors of your future. Do you decide slowly and change your mind quickly? Or do you decide with intention and stay the course long enough to see results? You've probably noticed this in others. Someone less smart than you, less experienced, maybe even with fewer resources, yet they move, they choose, they commit, while you sit with 10 open tabs, 5 unfinished projects, and a growing sense of frustration. This isn't about becoming reckless. It's about recognizing that indecision is not neutral. It is a decision to remain where you are. From now on, when you feel that familiar loop of hesitation, notice it. Name it. This is my pattern trying to keep me safe and small. Then ask yourself, what would the future version of me decide here? If this is hitting a nerve, that's a sign you're seeing your pattern more clearly. Which area of your life have you been researching and thinking about for months or years without a real decision? Share it in the comments. Writing it down is your first act of breaking the drift. If you're ready to stop letting indecision script your life for you, subscribe. The next episodes will help you turn clarity into action, and action into a new pattern. You've probably noticed this. When you're stuck, your mind doesn't usually scream, "You're stuck." Instead, it whispers things that sound perfectly reasonable. I'll start when things calm down. I just need more clarity. I'll wait until I feel ready. Those thoughts feel safe, logical, mature even. But under the surface, they often hide something far more powerful than circumstances. Your pattern of delay. Your life right now is made of tiny default reactions that you rarely question. A message comes in. You say, "I'll answer later." An idea appears. You say, "I'll research more." An opportunity shows up. You say, "It's probably not the right time." None of those choices ruin your life alone. But repeated together, day after day, they quietly train your future to look exactly like your past. The people who move forward aren't necessarily braver or smarter. They've just trained a different pattern. They send the message now. They test the idea now. They try the opportunity now, even while feeling doubt, fear, or imperfection. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't overcome fear and then act. You act consistently, and your fear slowly loses authority. So ask yourself, in the last 12 months, what have you repeatedly postponed? A conversation? A decision? A new source of income? Taking your health seriously? If you're willing, pause and actually answer that. This is where your true pattern lives. And if this is hitting a little close to home, that's not an accident. It means your awareness is already shifting. That quiet something needs to change you feel right now, that's the doorway. If this episode is helping you see your own pattern more clearly, tap like so this message reaches more people who feel just as stuck as you do. Then tell me in the comments, what is one small action you've been delaying that you're willing to do in the next 24 hours? If you're ready to stop living on autopilot and start designing your life with intention, subscribe now. Each episode will help you rewrite one more piece of the pattern that's been silently running your life. It's time to be blunt with yourself. If you could have figured it out on your own by now, you probably would have. You're not stuck because you're lazy or broken or cursed. You're stuck because you're loyal to an old pattern that no longer fits who you want to be. You wake up with the same thoughts. You run the same stories. You reinforce the same identity. I'm not good with money. I always mess things up. I'll start when things calm down. That's not just self-talk. That's self-programming. Napoleon Hill wrote that every thought you allow to dominate your mind seeks physical expression. Translation: what you rehearse internally, you eventually repeat externally. So if you keep rehearsing doubt, fear, and delay, your life will keep giving you more opportunities to doubt, fear, and delay. This is where most people quietly give up. They keep consuming inspiration, but they never confront the one pattern that actually needs to change: who they believe they are. Wealth is not just what you have. Wealth is who you're willing to become. So ask yourself right now, honestly, what identity are you fiercely protecting? The person who can't focus? The person who never catches a break? The person who's trying, but never fully committed? Because as long as you protect that identity, you'll sabotage any result that doesn't match it. New income, new opportunities, new relationships. They'll feel uncomfortable, and you'll unconsciously push them away to get back to your normal. Your first real breakthrough is not a strategy. It's a decision. I no longer identify as the person who stays stuck. From there, your habits, choices, and boundaries begin to shift. Not overnight, but consistently. And consistency, not intensity, is what rewires your pattern. If this is hitting a nerve, that's a good sign. It means your old identity is being challenged. Take a second and like this video if you feel that tension. It's you witnessing your own pattern. Then answer this in the comments. What identity are you finally ready to let go of? And if you want support rewriting that identity on purpose, not by accident, make sure you subscribe now. The next episodes are designed to guide you step by step into becoming the person your future is already waiting for. When you finally shift your pattern, something unexpected happens. Life stops feeling like a constant fight against yourself. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you're no longer driving with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. You begin to notice the moments that used to pass unnoticed. The instant you reach for your phone instead of finishing the task that matters. The way you soften your goals when someone raises an eyebrow. The tiny lie you tell yourself when you say, "I'll start tomorrow." These used to be automatic. Now they become signals. You feel the tug of your old pattern, the urge to escape, to delay, to shrink, and you pause. That pause is where your new life begins. Instead of asking, "Why is this so hard?" you start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Instead of thinking, "This always happens to me," you think, "This is my chance to respond differently." You still feel resistance. You still feel fear. You still feel doubt. But you step anyway. You send the message. You finish the project. You say no to what drains you. You say yes to what scares you in the right way. And the people around you notice, not because you became louder, but because you became clearer. You're no longer begging for permission from your past. You're quietly building evidence for a different future. That is how patterns die. Not in one dramatic moment, but through repeated, deliberate disobedience to your old story. If something in you is recognizing yourself in this, don't let it fade when the video ends. That's what your old pattern wants, one more inspiration quickly forgotten. Instead, ask yourself now, what is one small behavior I'm done repeating? Starting today. If this episode is challenging you in a good way, tap like, not for the algorithm, but as a personal commitment. I see my pattern, and I'm willing to change it. And if you're ready to keep going, to keep exposing the habits that keep you stuck, subscribe. Make sure this isn't just another moment of awareness, but the beginning of a new pattern. The pattern of conscious, consistent growth. Look at where you are right now. Not the highlight reel you show the world. The real place you stand in your finances, your work, your relationships, your energy. That reality is not random. It's the result of a pattern you've been running, often unconsciously, for years. The point of this video was never to make you feel guilty for that pattern, but to help you finally see it. Because once you see it, you can change it. You've discovered that it's not just what you want that shapes your life, but what you tolerate. Not just what you dream about, but what you consistently do when things get boring, slow, or uncomfortable. That's your true blueprint. Now the question is simple and uncomfortable. If you keep thinking the way you've been thinking, if you keep reacting the way you've been reacting, if you keep deciding the way you've been deciding, where does that actually take you in 1 year? In 5? You don't need another burst of motivation. You need a new pattern. A pattern where you face the thing you usually postpone. A pattern where you stay 1 more hour with the hard task instead of escaping. A pattern where criticism becomes data, not a verdict. A pattern where slow results don't mean give up, they mean keep going. Right now, your next small decision is more powerful than your biggest past mistake. So pause for a moment and reflect. What's one pattern you're now willing to retire? And what's one tiny, repeatable action you're ready to install in its place, starting today? If something in this video made you uncomfortable but in a useful way, let that be your signal. That discomfort is your mind trying to expand beyond its old limits. I'd like to hear from you. What pattern are you ready to break? And what new one will you replace it with? Share it in the comments. Naming it is your first act of power. If you want to keep exposing these invisible scripts and deliberately designing a richer life, internally and externally, consider subscribing. This is how you stay in contact with new ideas that challenge your autopilot and remind you that you're not stuck. You're simply patterned. And patterns can be rewritten, starting now with you.